Deviant's free-to-play battle royale effort The Culling Origins is shutting down on May 15.
2019
The game initially launched through Steam Early Access back in March 2016, before eventually making its way to X1 and Linux for its official launch in October 2017. It's been a rocky couple of years since then, with Deviant actually suspending production in December 2017 to focus on a sequel, appropriately called The Culling 2, that follow-up, however, was quickly shelved following a poor launch, and the studio chose to revive and rebrand the original as The Culling Origins. Deviant turned the resuscitated re-release into a free-to-play affair, and hoped that revenue generated from in-app purchases would be enough to sustain its team and ongoing development. Unfortunately, that has not proved to be the case, and the developer has now been forced to shut down the game for good. Even with thousands of active daily users, the revenue was only a fraction of what our dev team required to continue daily operations. As a result, we have been forced to reduce our team size, which renders us unable to provide ongoing support on the updates that would allow the game to grow and thrive. Reads a blog post from the developer. If there is a team out there who is interested in taking the reins from us and exploring the game's potential, please contact us. We think that with the proper resources and know-how in the free-to-play world, the right group could make great things happen. With service going offline on May 15th, the game's start pages and in-app purchases will also be disabled as soon as possible. Although it's sad news for fans of The Culling, they will still be able to enjoy the titles of Flamos after the shutdown. We want to offer a sincere and heartfelt thank you to everyone who has enjoyed the game, contributed feedback, and spent their hard-earned money to support our efforts over the years. Continued Deviant, The Culling has always been a labor of love, a learning experience, and an opportunity to pursue our passion for making games. The chief executive officers of two major video game companies have found their way onto SUSO's 2019 report on the 100 most overpaid CEOs. The report that uses pay data to call out pay disparities in publicly traded American companies. Both Electronic Arts, Andrew Wilson and Activision Blizzard's Bobby Kotick have earned spots on this year's list along with the likes of Walt Disney's Bob Iger, Netflix's Reed Hastings, and 96 other high-earning execs. This all comes just a week after Activision Blizzard announced that it would lay off an estimated 800 employees following the close of a record year. SUSO takes more than a CEO's yearly earnings into account when ranking its list, something detailed in full in the full report. In short, the organization looks at factors like total shareholder return and votes against the CEO pay packages to calculate the chief exec's earning in excess. The methods for calculating that exact excess can be found in appendix in the full report as well. Following that methodology, the group clocked Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick as number 45 on that ranked list of the most overpaid CEOs. By SUSO's data, Kotick is paid $28,
$698
$375, an excess of $12,
$835
$277 by the organization's estimates. The ratio of Kotick's pay compared to median worker pay at Activision Blizzard is 301. What? The median pay ratio for SB 500 companies is 142. While the median pay ratio for the 100 members of SUSO's list is 300. What? Electronic Arts, Andrew Wilson, meanwhile, is ranked a bit lower on the list has number 98. His yearly tick is $35.
728
764, an estimated excess of $19.
673
861 as determined by the report, a paycheck that was supported by 97% of shareholders' votes. Though median pay ratio was not used as a metric for ranking those high-earning CEOs, the difference between Wilson's own pay and that of the median Electronic Arts employer is greater than Culling's, as Wilson records that ratio as 371. 1. The gap between median worker pay and CEO pay has ballooned in just the past several decades, as explained in the following quote captured by Axios. If you look at the pay of top CEOs relative to workers, that ratio in the 1950s was 20-1, was about 30-1 by the late 70s, and by the mid-1990s it was 120-1, said Robert Reich, former Labor Secretary for President Bill Clinton, during a recent call with Axios and other reporters. When I was working in the White House, that was a cause of real concern. That ratio seemed appalling to most people. Now it's 300-1. The 2019 Game Developers Conference has released the results of the 7th Annual State of the Industry Survey, revealing trends in the game industry ahead of GD 2019 in March. The survey compiles responses from nearly 4,000 game developers, and reflects that nearly half of game developers support game industry unionization, as well as uncertainty around Steam's revenue-sharing model, and insights into the amount of time developers have spent working overtime hours in so-called crunch. The State of the Industry Survey is the 7th entry in the ongoing series of yearly reports and serves as a snapshot of the game industry, illustrating industry trends ahead of DD 2019, organized by UPM. DD 2019 takes place March 18-22 at the Moscone Convention Center in San Francisco, California. Nearly half of game industry professionals think game industry workers should unionize. Unionization is a hot topic in the game industry these days, and nearly half of the game industry professionals surveyed think it's a good idea. When asked whether they thought game industry workers should unionize, 47% said yes, 26% said maybe, 16% said no, and 11% said they did not know. However, when asked whether they think video game workers actually will unionize, only 21% said yes. The largest share, 39%, gave an uncertain, maybe. 24% of respondents said they do not think it will happen, and 15% said that they do not know. It is critical that people who work in games are able to maintain a healthy lifestyle, live normal lives, and be able to enjoy a high quality of life that will work well for their spouses and families, wrote one respondent. But there is too much supply. Too many people want into the industry, claimed another. Those who unionize will be shoved out of the way as companies hire those with fewer demands. Steam is the storefront to beat on PC, but some devs thrive on smaller competitors. Given how many notable new game storefronts debuted in 2018, such as the Epic Games Store and Discord Store, this year, survey respondents had the option to disclose which PC Mac game storefronts they sell their games on, and what percentage of their platform sales came from each. As expected, the most popular answer was Steam, with roughly 47% of those who responded to this question saying that they sell games on Valve's storefront. Of the respondents who said they sell their games on Steam, The majority, 55%, say Steam accounts for 75 to 100% of their sales revenue, and another 17% say it makes up 50 to 75% of their total revenue. Conversely,
GOG,
Humble and Discord each accounted for less than 10% of revenues earned by a notable majority of the respondents who sell games there. Interestingly, while indie-centric storage have a similar ratio, 52% of devs who use it say it generates less than 10% of their revenues. It also had a surprisingly high number of respondents, 28%, who said it accounts for 75 to 100% of their earnings. This shows that ITCH's open approach have likely attracted smaller indies who sell exclusively on it. Most game makers are not sure Steam still justifies its 30% cut, in light of how competition is heating up for PC games marketplaces. The survey also asked respondents whether they felt that Steam in its current form justifies a 30% cut of their game's revenue, which it currently takes. Only 6% said yes, and 17% said maybe. The rest said no or were not sure, with the largest share, 32%, saying Steam currently does not justify Valve's revenue share.